Good morning. It's Wednesday, March 26th, 2025. And I've finally gotten most of all the interruptions that have been happening lately out of the way, and I am reasonably organized. The green and white bike went home. A happy client taking that bike home. Kevin did the test ride on that 650 5-speed bike, and that went great. So he's going to be able to release that bike. So we both made a little bit of progress. And right now, I've got the, I'm going to call it blue, bathtub bike up on the lift. And I'm getting ready to put the primary together and put this new Electrex ignition charging system into it. Now, the instructions are written so that they assume you've got a full primary and you're just doing the installation of the electric unit itself. So I'm going to put the primary drive in here and start from that point. They do talk about taking the gas tank off to get access to the original spark coil. In this case, the original spark coil is up here. So we're going to see how things go. Should be just fine. The old distributor is here in place. The wires are up, pretending to be operational. So it's just there for show and tell now. And that's where we are. I'm going to get started now. Put the primary in. Well, over at Kevin's a couple days ago, we put the primary drive into that 655 speed, and he just walked over here and put it on, and it slipped right in, and I said, wow, that never happens. I mean, usually it takes about 15 tries to get the notch on the back of this center hub to line up with the keyway in the main shaft. And so let's see if we have any magic luck today. Get the front sprocket started. Get the chain up over the adjuster. Feel back here, because I tried to set it at the top. I can feel the notch. It's right about the right place. Let's see if I can just get it to slide onto there without lifting the key up. And sometimes you win. I'll be darned. Well, that was nice. Okay, so let's put this on. Heavy washer in. And the nut now goes on. Let's figure out which socket to use. Surprisingly, it's not Whitworth. Okay. Well, how about them apples? I will torque that. But right now we're in. How about that? I like that. Okay. So let me find out what the torque value is. I'll be right back. Okay, the book says the torque value on the center nut, clutch hub center nut, is 50 pounds. So I'm going to do 40 pounds and then I'll move up to 50 pounds. I've got this locker tool that I built a long time ago, 2 plates bolted together, had a welder make this big old arm. And when I put it in here, let's see if I can stay out of your way so you can see, I fit it to the outer like so, and then move the inner to where it'll go in. And moving the outer a little bit. Oh, come on. There it goes. There it is. Okay, now when I tighten this bolt going this way, this handle should come up here and abut here and lock the clutch for me. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna back off to 30. I don't know about you, but torquing big torques is very scary for me. I just feel like I'm going to snap a bolt off or break a bolt off and just cause myself all kinds of trouble. Okay, that's 30. Okay, so we know we got 30. And make sure you're on foot-pounds and not Newman Meisters or whatever that is. There's 40. All right. Here goes with the big 5-0. Oh, please work. Come on. Okay, 50. All right. Well, I feel good about that. All right, so we'll stop for a minute. All right, I've got the new plates all nicely lubed up. Always lubricate both the steels and the fibers. I found the hard way that if you put them in dry, which I did a long time ago, when I was very young and didn't know better, these little pads will pull away, and then they will circulate in there and give you erratic clutch operation. And it won't be consistent. It'll be just every now and then. So always lubricate them so that the little pads aren't tempted to break free. And this is just about as boring as watching paint dry, as they say. And fitting these things is always so much fun. I'll do a couple more, then I'll stop the video because it's just... And I always replace both the fiber and the steel because if you just replace the fiber, as is what quite a few people do when you work on their own bikes, it may slip. You just don't know. I can't do it because that means that I'd have to do the job twice for the second time for free. So I always replace both the steels and the fibers. Just a shop policy, folks. Just a shop policy. When you have this apart, check the grooves, especially in the outer basket. Make sure they're not hammered and all notched up. If they're notched, these plates will get caught in the notches and not release when you pull the clutch in. They'll ride inside the notches. You can fit a file in there and file them smooth, but actually when they get to the point where I say to myself, you could file those smooth, I replace the basket anyway. Just replace the whole darn thing. Once again, shop policy. A privately owned bike, you can do stuff like that. Client bike, you provide all new parts. All right, I'm going to stop for a minute while I get ready to do the next step. All right, so let's put the pressure plate on, putting the clutch release rod in here. And if you forget it, you can put it in afterwards from the outside through the adjusting hole on the primary cover itself. You could ask me, gee, Frank, how do you know that? Well, because I have forgotten. I have put the whole thing together. And, oh, well, what can I say? So I've got the adjuster all the way up. And I'm putting the springs in place. This is a screwdriver that I modified. You take a big old screwdriver and cut it real short to get down to the thick part. Then you can file and grind and make a adjuster that fits these clutch nuts pretty good. And readjusted the center nut. The book calls for a 1 full turn of slack. I just don't like that. I usually go a quarter, so I gave it half. So it's got half a turn of slack here, so there's no pressure on the cross rod. Okay. Then I adjusted up here. I've got the full adjustment up here. I've got good clearance down here, a little bit of drag here. I don't care. When it's running, you will not notice that. Some people say you should tighten down the appropriate nuts so that you get a nice level lift. I've never subscribed to that theory. I want them all level, and unless I'm putting in brand new springs, I'm not going to adjust the spring. There's no drag here that this bike will notice. Good clearance, and it engages nicely. That's my opinion. Feel free to say I'm wrong. So anyway, the clutch and front drive are in. At this point in time, we can start playing games and having fun with the Electrex ignition system. Fun and games with Electrex. Here we go. All right, step one, I'm going to put the studs back in that I took out for my convenience. These aren't the same thread, are they? No. Just curious. I am curious. Normally, the longer threads go on the outside, shorter threads go in. Huh, I'm not sure about that. All right, we're going to put them in with the longer end in. It seems to be coarser than the outer end. This one's so bunged up that my tool can't even grab it. All right, we're going to call that good. And putting the spacers back on. That's quite a bit shorter. These two are longer than this one. Be interesting. Okay, place the stator on and see if it fits nicely according to the photograph. Got clearance between this and the chain as they call for. Interesting. This guy, I don't. All right, it's even. So we have clearance behind here as they call for. Pardon my head for a minute. Okay. All right. So they say we have clearance. Okay, so much for doing it the way they suggest. First of all, I've taken this back off. I'm trying to feed these wires one at a time, stacking them up as they described. I've got the two yellow ones with the biggest connectors in there now. It's sort of jammed. So I have to get these other ones in here after them and push them all the way through. Let's see, what kind of pusher can we use? Frankly, I wish they hadn't put the connectors on, and then we could just put the wires through. This concept of putting these through is, I don't know. I'm going to try a few more efforts, and then I'm just going to take it out and take all the connectors off, and use my own. All right. I can't get the yellow ones out because they're far enough in there that the connectors have hooked themselves over the end of this tube, I'm sure, because they don't want to come out. There goes number 3. Okay. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Okay, halfway in, halfway out. Doesn't want to do anything. Now they're all jammed. Okay. I'll do my own connectors, thank you very much. That's all the way through now. We'll try one more time, then I'm just going to clip them all off. Okay. There we go. And there they are. So they were all the way through, and then they hooked themselves on the back, so I couldn't pull them out. Okay. Let's see if I can get these three through. I'll only have to use two connectors. All right, so one more time with Gusto. Hello, Gusto. Long time no see. Let's get one started, and another one started, and another one started, and see if we can't get them to go through. I'll follow up with the yellow ones. Yeah, right. Let the butchery begin. All right, now see if I can reach up in here somehow and find those wires. They're way up here at the top of the motor in a crevasse. All right, so we're gonna have to do something weird. I'm gonna have to put some sort of fishing line up through there to pull them down. Stand by while I figure out what to do. All right, here's a little bit of desperation going on here. I got to get 5 wires through this hole. I couldn't do it. I'm going to shoot some Armor All in there, just to act as a lubricant. I took the wires from this stator and I cut off the connectors and I soldered them together. Let me get my hand back here so it'll focus. And I have a piece of safety wire here hooked to them, and I'm going to use it as a fishing line. Let's see if I can get this through there and drag the, oh, and I also put shrink tubing at the end here. I cut back this big fat tubing, put shrink tubing here because it's thinner and it'll fit through that hole better, and maybe let me pull the rest of this through. If it doesn't, I'll take all of this off and put shrink tube on that too. Here we go. This is I'm going to wet this down a little bit. All right, let's see if I can get this through and pull it through. All right, well, I found the wire under here. Let's see if it'll go through. Let's see if I can pull it through. Okay. Gotta get something better to grip that wire with. Pull your boat gently down the stream. Nah, that's just this big tubing is just not gonna do it. It's just doubling back on itself. All right, I'm gonna take it out and I'm going to put shrink tube down the full length of this thing because I just can't get this fat tube through there. I'll be back. Okay, I took the big tubing off. I'll save that for future use somewhere. Put shrink tube all the way down, 1/4 inch shrink all the way down, and it fit inside the old big tube. I put a dab of silicone there before shoving it in, so that's actually a sealed joint, just to keep any oil from traveling out the wires. So now that I've made the bundle smaller, I'm going to try to feed it through using the fishing wire and see how it goes. Here we go. And the fun just never stops. Okay. I'm going to put some mother's milk on the outside of this thing too. Hook it to the fishing wire. And put it in here. Okay, once I find the wire. Come on, you got to be in there somewhere. Guess I jammed it up pretty good when I tried to pull it out. All right, let's pull out the fishing wire. I may have to start this thing over again. Getting a little tired here. All right. I'll be back. Okay, take two. New piece of fishing wire all the way through. Sticking down, I can find it. Here it is. Okay, let's see if I can pull this through. Come on now. Getting a little tired here. Has to go in and make a very sharp turn at the end of this tube. Hark! I have it through, which means now I get to take this and put it here behind this little standoff. Oh, come on. Okay. All right, now that I've proven that it can be done, I'm going to take it out and put the rubber cap on. That seals the exit tube. I think I might do that offline. I'll be back. All right, take 17 or 18 or whatever. Here we go again. Fishing line is installed. Wires are going in. I remembered the oil sealer rubber cap. I'm feeding. Here we go, feeding. All right. And the wires are all the way through. Good. Now I'm going to bring it up here. Slide the cap in place. Now I'm going to put the stator back on for the, 17th time? All right, we're getting there. Hark, it's on. The wire is through the guide, and Bob's your uncle. Let's go read the instructions and find out what I'm supposed to do for second step. I'll be back. All right, so we're going to set the ignition timing now. This is the description in the paper. You can freeze frame and try to read it, setting the timing. What I think it says is that you put the piston to top dead center. I've got the left one at top dead center right now on compression. And I don't think it matters because top dead center is top dead center. And it fires on top dead center every time, whether it's compression or exhaust. Anyway, so you set the rotor, you set the engine to top dead center, which I have. Then you set the little blue dot to 38 degrees for triumphs, which I am about to do. Let's go over here and take a look at it. All right, so there's the little blue dot. Not a lot of focus there. And up here on the rotor is the markings. So if I take this marking here, with it set to top dead center, and find 38 degrees, which is right about here, $34. I'm looking at the phone rather than the marking. And I set this guy to 38, which would be right about here. Okay, set that mark to the blue dot and tighten it down. Okay, I'm going to back off now and go ahead and do that. I'll be back. All right, for better visibility, I drew a white line, painted the white line at the blue dot, and I have painted a white line at 38 degrees on the rotor. So theoretically, with the engine set to top dead center and the engine rotating in this direction, Yeah, so if we rotate in this direction, this line here will get to the white line 38 degrees before this line. So it rotates this way. Doesn't seem right. So if it rotates this way, that means the white line will get there before. I got to think on this. Hang on.